Hello, good afternoon to my dear students. I welcome all of you in the second session of this summer vacations. Before that, we have discussed about the poem, The Road Not Taken. Now, today, our main topic is that we are going to read a poem that is on killing a tree. This poem on killing a tree is written by Guy Fortel. This Guy Fortel was born in 1940. So he is an important figure, an important personality in the history of modern Indian poetry. So, for as the modern Indian poetry is concerned, this man, Fortel, is an important figure, and he has been acting as a playwright, as a painter, and by profession he is a doctor. He has written many books of poetry. These poems mainly include How Do You Withstand Body, etc. And his first show was held in Mumbai in 1966, and he participated in certain exhibitions not only in India but also abroad. This was all about this poet who is the author who has authored this poem on killing a tree. Here, before coming to the main content of this poem, we have to bear it in our mind that the growth of a tree is a long process. When we grow a tree, it is not that within 24 hours or within a day or a night we are able to grow a tree, but it takes years, many years to develop, to grow a complete tree, a tree in all respects. But at the same time, we are killing the tree. That killing the tree is longer process. If we say that the growth of a tree is a long process, remember, this is a very sharp sentence here. Growth of a tree is a long process. एक ट्री जो है इसको ग्रो करना जो है ये एक लॉन्ग प्रोसेस है, लेकिन बट किलिंग ऑफ ए ट्री, लेकिन इसी ट्री को अगर हम मार देंगे, ख़त्म करेंगे, इज़ ए लॉन्गर प्रोसेस, इससे भी बढ़िया प्रोसेस है. हाउ? सो दिस सीम्स टू बी सो सिंपल, बट इट इज़ नॉट सो. You will understand this only after reading the poem, but while discussing the contents of the poem, that you should be very much attentive. Only then you will come to understand what I have told you here, that growth of a tree is a long process. Remember it, growth of a tree is a long process, but killing a tree is a longer process. How? That we will understand when we will go in between the lines of this poem. So there is a violence on the part of the man towards these plants or the trees. Now let's start here. The first stanza goes, it takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of the knife will do it. Now look here, the first line is, it takes much time to kill a tree. If we really want to kill a tree, if we have a big tree in front of us, generally we have seen that when we cut a poplar tree, जब हम सफ़ेद या कोई बैद का दरख्त उसको हम काटते हैं तो what happens, a small portion of the stem is left there. जो ही हम वहाँ पे आरा चलाते हैं तो उसके फ़ौरन बाद कुछ हिस्सा बचता है वहाँ पे जो ट्रंक कहलाता है. The trunk, a certain part of that stem remains there. We understand that we have finished the tree, we have chopped it as different branches, extra small branches, each and everything. We have finished the job. But after some days, what we see that again some branches start growing there. So we have killed a tree just by using a saw with the help of a mighty machine. It is very easy that we can cut the stem of a tree. Like after that, what happens is we see that these small sprouts began to sprout there. Means that after cutting the stem, after cutting the branches and all that, we should not think that we have done the job, we have finished the plant or the tree. No, it takes much time to kill a tree. Why? Because after doing the particular process of cutting the stem, cutting the branches, what happens is the new branches begin to grow there. So something remains there within the soil that gives birth again to the shoots. Then those shoots can regrow and we can have a new plant there, a new tree there. Not a simple jab of the knife. So if you have a knife in your hand and you will just have a jolt on the stem of the tree, jab means a small blow, jab means a sudden rough blow by any weapon that is in your hand. Maybe it is an axe, it is a knife, it is a sword. And what does poet say here? But this alone, what does poet say here? He says not a simple jab. If you simply gave a blow on the stem, on the pot, any part of the plant, jab of the knife, if you are having a knife in your hand and you are giving a heavy bolt with that, आप उसके ज़रिए एक ज़ोरदार इस पे you are trying to have a deep cut or the stem, so what will happen? Will do it. It has grown slowly consuming the earth. No. The poet says, oh, you can't finish the life of a tree just by hitting on the stem of it with the help of a sharp knife or any other weapon. But look here, it takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of knife will do it. You see that from line 1 continues to line 2 and still the meaning is not complete here. Then in the line 3 it is will do where we see the full stop. So when we jump from one line to another line, then second line to third line, just to complete the meanings, what the poet wants to say there. Already I have told you several times that this is called enjambment. So we see here in the first 2.5 line, just after the full stop behind it, so it is enjambment. It has grown slowly, consuming the earth. What does the poet says? Why? Why is it very difficult that we can't just finish the life of a tree just by a single jab, by a single jolt or hit. No. Why? Slowly consuming the earth. What has happened? Once this tree has been planted in the soil, and since then, suppose if it is ages 100 years, 80 years, 50 years, so this tree has been consuming the earth, means here consuming the means is taking all the food available in the earth, the minerals, the important nutrients in the soil, whether they are macronutrients or they are micronutrients. These nutrients are being deriving by this plant throughout his life, slowly, gradually is consuming these minerals, these essential nutrients from the earth, rising out of it, and he rises out of it means that he grows, he takes these minerals out of it, and then he 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 comes with a full growth, and he feeds its body parts by consuming all this from the soil, feeding upon its crust. So this tree has been feeding upon the crust, means the topmost part of the soil. That is called crust. And you see that there is crust, mantle and core. You might have read. Here the crust जो है, it is abundant in the minerals. It is the richest part of the soil. The crust is the most fertile part as compared to the mantle and the core. So what the poet says here, he says that upon the crust, the tree is absorbing years of sunlight, and since the age of this tree is not just a single year, but a tree, it needs a lot of years. It needs so many years, 50 years, 60 years, 100 years. So from 100 years, the tree is utilizing what? Years of sunlight. It is utilizing the sunlight because these trees, they make food. They are autotrophic. They make food with the help of sunlight, water, chlorophyll, uh, and what? He is consuming the air, water, and absorbing all these years. He has been absorbing what? Sunlight, utilizing the sunlight for making the food, utilizing the air, exchange of gases, and he is utilizing the water from the crust of the soil. So from the crust of the soil, the topmost layer, this plant has been thriving. He has been utilizing the sunlight, the air, the water, and out of it is leprous hide. What is leprous? Leprous, generally, it is a leprosy, that is a disease, a skin disease, a dreadful skin disease in humans, जिसको कोड का मरज हम कहते हैं. But here, and out of it is leprous hide means कि this plant जो tree है, इसका जो stem है, इसके ऊपर जो bark होता है, इस पैटर्न जो छालें हैं, जिसका दिल आसान छे, that has been here compared with the leper disease. So it is a metaphor has been used here. The skin has been compared with the leprous disease that is accumulated by the human beings, and out of it is leprous hide. So the cover of the bark that resembles to the leprous disease, sprouting leaves, what we see from that bark, that leprous bark. So what comes, we see the leaves are sprouting, are coming out. They're coming out. Now, before jumping to the second stanza of the poem, we have to understand once again that it takes a much time for a tree when we are going to kill it, and it is not so easy that simply by a single jab of knife or by using an axe or any other sharp weapon, by having a strong or very ardent blow or the body of the tree cannot just finish its life. So what happens, because this tree grows slowly, it is not the job of just an hours or minutes, but it has taken a life. Throughout the life, this tree is utilizing, is consuming slowly the minerals, the essential nutrients from the earth, and is rising, is feeding upon the crust, deriving the absorbing sunlight, air, water, the minerals, and what we see, the wrappers, this bark, outer bark on the stem. We see the sprouting of leaves there. Now the second stanza. So, so hack and chop. So, so hack and chop. So hack and chop, but this alone won't do it. So hack and chop, but this alone won't do it. So if you if you are if you are going to hack, or if you are going to chop, what is hack? Hack means if you are going to cut it roughly. If you are going to cut it roughly, and chop again means to cut. Chop means to cut into pieces. If you are trying to uh, uh, chop it, if you are trying to hack it, hack means to cut it into small pieces. So what happens? Not so much fan will do it. Oh, definitely, these plants, they are living also, so they do have the sense. So if you have a cut, if you are trying to cut roughly by striking a heavy blow on the pot of the tree, that is called a hack. Hack means to have a strong blow on the pot of the tree. And if you are trying to chop, or chop means cut, but this alone would do it. So it is not enough. It is not sufficient that you are going to complete finish the life of a tree. Not so much pain will do it. Ah, yes, definitely. By your heavy blow, by your, if you are trying to make injury on the body of the plant, yes, it will cause pain. No, so much pain will do it. The bleeding bark will heal. Yes, if you have wounded the bark, अगर आपने उसका bark जो है उसको जख्मी कर दिया है, छलनी कर दिया है एक जोर के झटके से, by me having a hack or chop, you have bleeded the body part of the bark of the plant. But remember, that will not kill the plant. That will just make a pain in the body of the plant. But remember that the bark of the plant जो आपने जख्मी कर दिया है, वो क्या होगा, वो उसमें ब्लीडिंग होगी, सैप जो इसमें रस होगा, सैप, SAP, सैप, that will start flowing. Liquid will start oozing out from the stem. Will, लेकिन याद रखना, what will happen, the bark will heal. उसके बाद भी अगर वहाँ से कुछ डसना शुरू हो गया, वहाँ रस जो है, वहाँ जो सैप निकलना शुरू हो के जख्म की वजह से ब्लीडिंग एक किस्म की है, जैसे इंसान को जख्म लगता है तो हमारे जिस्म से खून निकलता है. Here the sap, the flow of the sap has been compared with the bleeding. Again, this is the metaphor here. The bleeding bark will heal. ले जख्म जो हमने इसको दिया मारने के लिए, ये जख्म जो है, it will heal. ये heal इसमें heal up होगा, ये ठीक है, बढ़ जाएगा. And from close to the ground will rise colored green. And from the, जो मैंने in the beginning आपको बोला, फ्रॉम द क्लोज ऑफ द ग्राउंड जो पार्ट बचता है, जब हम एक दरख्त को काटते हैं तो फ्रॉम द क्लोज ऑफ द ग्राउंड वहाँ पे we see a part of the plant remains there very close to the ground, very close to the ground. काटने के बाद तो वहाँ पे नए ये जो ब्रांच है, they begin to grow And here if you see that if we are going to cut this plant here by this mighty saw, तो यहाँ पे ये जो पोर्शन जो है जो सा के नीचे ज़मीन के बिल्कुल क्लोज जो पोर्शन बचेगा छोटा सा पोर्शन, ये समझ के हमने प्लांट बॉडी जो 99% जो इस प्लांट की जो बॉडी है उसको हमने काट के फेंक दिया है, तो समझ लिया है वी हैव टेकन इट फॉर ग्रांटेड दैट वी हैव फिनिश्ड द लाइफ ऑफ द ट्री। लेकिन जो छोटा पोर्शन विद द क्लोज प्रॉक्सिमिटी ऑफ सॉइल जो बचा वहाँ से न्यू ब्रांचेस begin to grow there. That is why it is not easy to to plant a tree takes a long time, but to kill a tree takes a longer time. लेकिन एक प्लांट को मारने के लिए उससे भी ज़्यादा टाइम चाहिए, बिकॉज यहाँ पे क्या होगा when we are trying to this bleed any part the stem or any part of the plant by a serious weapon, by having a hack or chop it, so what happens is it causes the pain. Then we see that this part of the plant where he suffers from the heavy jolt, heavy jab, and the bleeding starts there. Here it has been compared with the bleeding that is bleeding of the human bleeding whenever our body part gets damaged. Soon after, what happens will rise colored green twigs, miniature boughs. Miniature means small, and boughs means branch, small branches, which, if unchecked, will again to form size. If unchecked, if we leave them, if we do not cut these small new growths, ये जो नए growths वहाँ पे शुरू हुई है उस वाले portion से, that is very close to the soil, तो अगर उनको हम छोड़ देंगे, हम उनके साथ नहीं छेड़ेंगे, which if unchecked will expand again, तो दोबारा वो grow करेंगे to form the size and we will get the tree again. So after cutting, damaging the 99% of the tree, we can again, we are able to have the tree again from the small, these unchecked, and if they are like these boughs, these small miniatures that grow very close to the stem of this plant, that is the leftover part of the plant when we cut a heavy tree. Now the third stanza. No, the root is to be pulled out. Now in this stanza, the poet is categorically telling us that if we really want to finish the inhalate, अगर हम really इसको नेस्त नाबूद करना चाहते हैं एक ट्री को, तो हमें क्या करना चाहिए? The poet is clearly telling us here that if we want really the 100% death of a tree, if we really want to kill a tree in all respects and not leaving any remains there, वहाँ पे कोई निशानी नहीं बचना चाहिए, तो what poet says, the root is not to be pulled out. The root is not to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. We see that जो tree है, there is a part of a tree that is underground part. That underground part of the tree, they are called the roots. And what is the job of these roots? The first job, the first function of these roots is that they are anchoring this tree. Anchoring means they held it very tightly. Otherwise ये इतना बड़ा tree जो है ये खड़ा नहीं रह सकता है. And it is these roots that they anchor यहाँ पे verb use हुआ है, तो उसको बांध के रखते हैं. They held these particles of the soil very firmly and have the tree to remain there in an erect manner. Erect manner में वहाँ पे इसको help करते हैं. It is to be roped, tied and pulled out. So if you really want to kill a tree, what you need out of anchoring the earth, it is to be roped. You had to rope it, tied. You had to tie it with the rope and pull it out, and you have to uproot the plant. इसकी जो रूट्स है उसको इसके रूट्स के वाले एंड से उसको उखाड़ना है. यू हैव टू अपरूट बाय पुलिंग द रोप. उसको रस्सी बांध के स्नैप इट आउट. यू हैव टू पुल आउट द रूट्स और पुल इट आउट इंटायरली, पूरा परफेक्टली, पूरा उसको जितने भी रूट्स है you have to excavate them out from the earth's cave. And cave means the space वहाँ पे जो जहाँ जहाँ तक रूट्स ने ये जगह बनाई थी. And so here the final stanza में this poet जो है is giving us the notion that if you really want to finish the tree, what we have to expose its roots like this here. Let's have a close look of this picture here on the screen, that the roots of the plant has been pulled out, that is it has been uprooted. And the poet says there is only one via media or the solution that you can just finish the life, the entirety of the tree. There is only one remedy, that you have to uproot it. You have to expose its roots. इसके roots जो है, you need to expose them to the air, to the scorching heat, जो तपती धूप है. You have to expose the roots so that these roots they will dry up and nothing will remain there. It will lead 100% death of a tree. So here in this stanza, what does poet say? He says that the root जो है उसको उखाड़ने की ज़रूरत है, and pull it out, snap it out, or pull it out entirely out from the earth cave, and the strength of the tree exposed. Once you do it, once you expose the roots of a plant, the strength जो एक ट्री में होती है वो सारी strength क्या होती है, वो expose होती है. The source, white and wet, the most sensitive, hidden for years inside the, and this is the part, that is the strong root system of a tree is hidden, that is concealed beneath the soil for 100 years. But this very portion of the plant, ये वाला हिस्सा जो है, this is very sensitive, ये बहुत हसास हिस्सा है, because the tree is using it to conduct water and minerals from the soil. Then the matter of scorching and choking in sun and air, browning, hardening, twisting, withering, and then it is done. So what happens once the roots get exposed, then the matter of the scorching means the very brisk heat of the sun, the choking air, what happens is they cause browning of these roots, and they get hardened, they get twisted, and they finally wither, and that leads the death of the tree. This is all about the today's this poem. So before finishing it, we have to give the final, that is the poetic devices that have been used in the poem. And those poetic devices, that is the metaphor. I told you that metaphor has been used there in the poem, and there is personification. Metaphor यहाँ पे जो bleeding bark मैंने बोला आपको, it's a comparison between the two unlike things, that instead of stating that one thing is like another, the poet जो identifies the bleeding, here the word bleeding is a metaphor. The poet compares the sap, जो रस होता है, that oozing when we hack a tree, when we strike a tree with a sharp weapon, then there is oozing of the sap. That sap was here compared to the blood, human blood, whenever human beings get wounded. So this is a metaphor here. Again, we see here is a leprous hide. Leprous is a disease that is associated to the human being is a skin disease. इसको कोड का मरज कहते हैं. Here the bark पे जो stem पे जितना भी bark है, that uneven या discoloring bark जो है, that has been compared with the leprosy. And there is repetition. We see that the root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. It is to be roped, tied and pulled out. जो pulled out word है या snapped out, it has been used repeatedly or pulled out entirely. So this is repetition. So first and second one is, there is no proper this rhyme scheme in the poem. When unless we don't read the second line, the first line doesn't make the meanings clear. So this is called enchantment. And finally we see that personification is there. That tree, the poet has presented human qualities in the tree. Just as human beings are sensitive, they can grow, they can feel, they can get bullied, and they can regenerate. All these properties, human properties, when we attribute these human properties to these non-speaking entities, this is called personification. Now the rhyme scheme में हम देखते हैं, it is written in the free verse. Hope that you would have fully understood it. And when the schools will inshallah reopen, I hope that every student has to represent each poem in front of the students and has to present their display in the form of the lecture. So for all these days, after reading the poem and finishing its questions prescribed in the text, and then you have to try, so that you have to make the presentation after opening of the schools, the number of poems that we are going to finish here. Yeah, you have to be ready at your home. Start practicing right now, so that in the very first day we'll be starting and we will check your presentation lessons in the classroom. Thank you very much.